Of all the things that you've tried to get listings, what has been the very best way for you to go out there and acquire new listings?
So there's two actually, but it just depends on time horizon, right? So there's now business and there's future business, and future business can scale better and bigger, right? So that's going to be strategic referral partners for me. But if I'm day one starting in the business, that's picking up the phone and calling the most urgent, hot and ready leads that you can, which for me was expireds.
Got it. So talk to us about referral partners. Who are you working with? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so for strategic referral partners, I call it's my VIP strategy. And what I'm looking for is first, I'm looking for someone who has a network that can scale, right? So instead of me trying to, call 250 people and keep in touch with all these people, I'm trying to call 40 people or 50 people who I really like, and they have their own trusted networks. And so I really just got to sell that person and coach them and train them and also see if they're the correct personality type to be a consistent referral partner. So first it starts with the who. Do they fit the criteria? That's going to be small business owners, influential people in a community, or most often it's going to be professional service providers. So that's going to be, attorneys, CPAs, financial planners, lenders. It could be a roofer, it could be a contractor, things like that, right? So you want to I think that's the ideal way that this business ought to be after a decade is you should have like a really strong base of several, 20, 30 people who send you multiple deals a year reliably, and you build that one at a time.
Yeah, totally agree. Right. I mean, I did the exact same thing. I think that business model for people that don't know about it or haven't got into it is a way to take what historically has been real estate sales, that is a business to consumer, primarily business model, and flipping that to a business to business. So to your point, instead of going, doing one-to-one sales, one you being one person going to one consumer, you can build a relationship with, a financial planner who, just like you, is building his or her business. And throughout their career, you might do 10, 15, 20, 25 deals with one relationship versus doing one transaction with one family. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly right. And it just, I think it's a shame to not do this business that way after a certain amount of time. And it's one relationship at a time. And then the last thing, Brandon, that's really important is when you find someone who fits the criteria, they've got the network. Now you have to judge for their personality type and you have to top grade your lists over time and see if they actually produce. So maybe something like 1 out of 10 people are like you and me. I want to be responsible for every good thing that happens in my clients or sphere's life, including their barber and their haircut, right? I got to make sure I got the guy for everything. And I give out referrals. You don't have to ask me or train me. That's maybe like 1 out of 10 people. And those are somebody with a smaller network, but that personality type is worth more than anybody else. So the personality, but you can't screen for that. You got to find out and you got to top grade your list. Then the next one down is people who you can coach up. You can remind them and teach them how to refer you and how to think about you. And then there's just some people who will just never put their name on the line for just anybody, even if they love you. And so those are the people that they got to fall off your list. And so you got to just keep building that list over time.
Yeah, and this whole model is built on the idea of being what I call referable. And it starts with being the one who is a giver. Most agents who think about referrals do what? They just have their hands out. Gimme, 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 gimme. And it's like, no, no, we have to lead with a giving hand. And so you just touched on that really quickly. To become referable means a lot of different things, which we don't have time to get into in this podcast. But like the idea that you are going to go out there and prospect all these people and it's just going to be a one-sided taking relationship isn't going to work very well. You agree?
Yeah, and quickly, I could just say, for instance, my best referral partner is a financial planner, and I provide him sales coaching on how to ask his clients for referrals. And so I started doing that for him with no ask. I just say, hey, I'm gonna call you once a month. We're gonna go over this, and we're gonna do kind of one script a month. Fell in love, and he sent me, multiple deals last year, several
Yeah,
actually.
that's exactly right. That's the best relationship where you can show up as the leader, where you're coaching, you're consulting your referral partners on how they can grow their business. And as in exchange, as you become what I call an extension of their offering to their clients. Okay. Now, so that's referral partners. You said a couple times when somebody is more experienced, that's kind of what they shift to. But then
Yeah.
first getting started out, you said that you'd pick up the phone and go after strangers. What did you mean by that? All right, if you're watching this and you're not yet earning $10,000 a month consistently month in and month out, as a listing agent, I'm talking about somebody who can work Monday through Friday, take nights and weekends off without having to chase flaky buyers around all day. Well, I just launched the Listing Agent Toolkit. This is everything you need to build a six-figure listing agent business. It's 100% free. There's a link to that in the description.
Yeah. So there you need now business. There's now business and future business, and that referral partner you can't reliably feed your family on with that business day one as a new agent. Like that will work, but whether you get your first referral next month or next year, you don't really have a whole lot of control over that. But you do have control over how much time you spend on the phone and how many dials you make, right? So picking up the phone and calling urgent leads. But here's the one other thing that like people don't talk about, or maybe it just I think is really salient. It's also multiplied by your skill set. And the best way to increase your skill set is, as you say, Brandon, the learning is in the doing, right? So picking up the phone, you got to just, if you're new, you have to have hundreds, thousands of conversations, and that will sharpen you all across any type of prospecting or marketing you do. That'll tune you into the zeitgeist of your market. That'll make you more knowledgeable. You'll learn different talk tracks, all that kind of stuff. So it's just, you got to do something that has volume attached. Otherwise, you won't get the skill set along the way either. And those compound.
No doubt. Now, on the flip side of that, what are the things, Johnny, that you've tried over your career that had a big promise attached to it, but you didn't find that it was really beneficial? Have you tried any of those things?
No, so I've been fortunate to have very, very few of those because I relocated from, I'm a California refugee, so I'm in Texas now for a few years. So I had no network or sphere out here to waste my time on. So it's really just for me been cold prospecting, open houses, which are phenomenal. I highly recommend open houses too, and a VIP referral based relationship. That's pretty much the only things I've really dipped my toe into, and they've all worked well for me.
That's great. Now, as far as results go, like what are you on track to earn this year?
So I do a July over July year for myself. I used to do that in one of my corporate sales roles. It helps me kind of like kickstart my years differently from a mental mindset. But anyways, I'll do a little over 600,000 GCI and about 28 or 30 properties. We'll see. I got 6 weeks left.
Got it. I love it. And so, yeah, your year's almost over. So you're going to do roughly 600. If you had to source the business and say, okay, this percent comes from this source of business and so on and so forth, how does the business break up?
Yeah, it's 70%, 70 or 75% is going to be cold prospecting and 30% referrals.
Got it. I love it. And the goal is to even those out and then eventually get to the point where cold prospecting can go down because the relationships have gone up. Fair?
Yep. Exactly right.
Yeah, totally makes sense. All right. Now, let's talk about the schedule. Let's talk about what is it that you do every day to actually generate an income. Like, can you walk us through what happens when you wake up, and we'll kind of go through this step by step until your head hits the pillow?
Yeah, so I'm almost exactly 2 years into the business. So year one was 3 to 4 hours of prospecting to start off the day. That's just prospect, and the rest was follow up and then get out there and try to shake hands, and really was kind of referral partner meetings was like my second half of the day. Didn't have a whole lot of clients to service at that time. Now the day starts off with about 2 hours of prospecting. So
Got
1
it.
hour of cold prospecting, and then the next hour is either sphere or VIP related or hot warm leads. Just I kind of got my own little mix and match. But 2 hours right from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock.
So 8 to 10, you're focused every day on business growth. Every day for 2 hours in the morning, you're going to say, okay, I need to spend that time to grow my business, grow my pipeline before I do anything else. So at 10 a.m., after you're done doing that, how many people do you typically talk to between that time frame, actually?
It varies pretty widely based off of the source, right? But I'm going to have 10 conversations, maybe something like
Yeah,
that.
it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. Um, and just out of curiosity, how many new leads do you generate and maybe new leads and new appointments are you able to generate every week on average?
Yeah, a couple leads a day, couple appointments a week right
Love it.
now. Yeah. I
Got
like
it.
back half of last year I had a listing appointment like 3 a week. It was crushing, but right now about 2.
About two. Okay, got it. And now it's 10 a.m. What happens next?
After that, I'm gonna do a quick team meeting. So I got 3 full-time employees now. So I'm gonna kind of just go over all of the active clients right now. We got 17 active listings and 2 active buyers. So we just run through the whole list and make sure we're on the same page with everything everybody needs and that communication is happening. I'm gonna do some active client work for about an hour and a half, moving into about lunchtime. And then I have a lunch appointment, usually in my office. Not always, but I'm getting pretty good at getting them to come to me now. About 3 days a week. Mondays I don't take any appointments. I only prospect for the rest of the day on Mondays. That's kind of like my power day. But the other days of the week I take a lunch kind of coffee appointment.
Got it. And what are those appointments typically? Are those with referral partners? Or are those with potential sellers? What type of meetings are those?
Yeah. Those are usually with potential referral partners, either current or potential.
Yeah, I
So I'm
always say the
trying to
same
always
thing.
add to the list so that I can boot off people who I'm not excited to call and who aren't producing.
Yep, I love it. Makes a ton of sense. And so many agents, I think, are so focused on, hey, I need to set an appointment with this buyer or this seller, but they're not. I said the best use of your lunch hour is to meet with potential referral partners or to further relationships with those referral partners. This is the best thing you could do is to break bread with people. It's the best use of your time during that period of time. Okay. So when you come back from lunch what do the afternoons typically look like?
Appointments,
Yeah.
that's the plan. And if not, I'm going to do some extra prospecting or extra research that'll put together some kind of creative deal.
Yeah. Can you, and that makes sense, right? So you're spending the morning looking for business and then the afternoon servicing the business or acquiring clients or acquiring relationships. Would that be
Yep.
fair? That's how you're
Hmm.
breaking up your day into two different halves.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to talk about the importance of lead follow up. And what I mean by lead follow up, I'm talking not just with cold prospects, but like with the actual process of referral, relationship building with referral partners, right? If I had to guess, and this is the problem, is that most people are looking for that instant gratification, is to do this thing to get this result. Is that what it's been in your experience, or is there a level of doing work for a long period of time before it actually manifests into a paycheck? Would that be fair?
Yeah, my background would actually be pertinent in this. So for 7, almost 8 years, I was in orthopedic medical device and capital equipment sales. So I was in the operating room with the surgeons, about 20 cases a week, on call 24/7 for the entirety of those 7.5 years. And so something important to note. So I'm selling the equipment and I'm getting paid a commission based off of the implants and equipments and technology that the surgeon uses. And that surgeon does this case week after week, year after year, right? On average, an orthopedist switches their primary implant provider one time in their entire career, right? So it's a very long sales process. I'm hunting for whales all day long. I have 20 prospects. I don't have unlimited prospects like real estate. I got 20 guys, and I'm trying to be their one switch in their career. So it's a 2 to 5 year sales process for the majority of them. Some of them can be sub 1 year, so you got to but once you get them, they put in for you for the rest of their career. You're their one switch, and it's a big deal. So the long time horizon is something I'm very comfortable with, and it makes sense for me that if I'm adding, say, 1 or 2 new VIPs a quarter to my list, and I'm booting maybe one off a quarter, right? And then over time, I'm really hoping for just 1 or 2 guys that can send me multiple deals a year. And if I can get 2 guys, 3 guys who can send me more than one deal a year reliably, then in 5 years, I could put up my feet if I wanted to.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, how would you how would you coach somebody who's maybe in the live audience right now who says, "Yeah, that sounds all fine and dandy, but dude, I got bills to pay right now. I can't wait all this time. I need to make money as soon as possible." How would you communicate that to them as it pertains to lead follow up and the importance of pipeline maturity?
So, uh, just to button up the kind of VIP strategy and separate that, when is the best time to plant a tree is 30 years ago. The next best time is today, right now.
Great point.
If you need to feed your family today, you really don't want to spend too much time on that. But it would also be a shame to be 5 years into this and just now get it started, right? So I would just say have a maximum amount of time that you spend on things that are future oriented. My biggest pet peeve is like a new agent who's spending like 10 hours on Canva, like messing around or something like that. I'm like, you're not doing anything, right? So from that, like just cap it off at a couple few hours, whatever you could spare, or maybe it doesn't make the list for 6 months, and that's okay too. You just don't want to wait 5 years. But the fortune is in the follow up. Like I honestly, it gets me fired up. I love when I get a little bit behind and I start going through my lead follow up and I find people who just listed with somebody else. It just lights such a fire under my ass, dude. I get wild, and it happens all the time. So I'm not
Sure.
perfect by any means there, but it really the lead follow up it's everything. So we're filling the funnel, but the warm leads are where you want to spend your time. You want to be looking at that list every single day.
So in other words, I mean, and I don't know what the percentage would be. I don't know if you track how closely you track this. Of the listing appointments, better yet, of the listings you're going to get, let's say in June, or the ones, how many listings did you get in May? We're doing this, we're shooting this 3 days before my birthday. How many listings did you get this month, just as an example?
Three.
Okay, those three listings, were those from, how many of those actually came out of lead follow-up versus like plucking them out of the sky? You got all three from talking to the person once in your whole life.
All three were from follow up, actually. Yeah.
Shocker, right? I mean, like, the thing is, it's no surprise. I just say that so that agents can really wrap their head around, okay,
Yeah.
every day I'm going to build a pipeline. Okay, that's what we're doing. It's called lead generation. We're getting leads, and then we're following up with those leads, pushing them through the pipeline. And that pipeline can take maybe call it 3 to 6 months to manifest, where listings out actually come through the bottom of that pipeline. So I really want people to just grasp that. We talk about it, they get it intellectually, but then emotionally they forget, because when they're prospecting and they don't get a listing today, then they bounce off and chase something else. All right. Now, let's shift and talk about the listing appointment. What have you learned over the past 2 years that has allowed you to go in, get a seller to trust you, respect you, and you having the ability to earn those relationships through this conversation? What can you share with the audience?
Oh man. Well, gets another one that's back to the Matthew principle, or the 80/20, right? To those that have, more will be given. The thing is most of my listing appointments are still expired listings and they're highly competitive. And so far, like I do really well. I mean, I win 80% of the time, but it's just because in the fall, I was going on 3 a week every single week. So I just got so much better at it than everybody else. But what did I learn about that? So you have to take control of the appointment, right? If you're doing an hour and a half or more listing appointment, you're probably doing something wrong. I come in, I establish rapport very quickly, and I do kind of a walk through the house. I tell them I'm a quick study, and I just use that as time to establish rapport. I set my stuff down at the kitchen table right before we actually start that. Hey, can I set my stuff down? Because I want to use that as a homing beacon to bring me back to it. So we sit down at an appropriate place at a table. You don't let people put you on the couch. You don't let people put you in some weird room or noisy room. You also have to be slightly disagreeable in a necessary but kind way. So like ask for the TV to turn off and ask them to put their dog outside so it's not licking you and jumping all over you, so you can focus and be locked in. But it's really just taking a leadership role in the appointment, really driving it, because they are going to try to interrupt you with their preconception of how they think this should go, especially if they're interviewing other agents who sat down and schmoozed with them on the couch for an hour and a half. And they're going to start interviewing you before you can interview them. So I interview them first. That's the next thing. Once we get to the table, I start asking them questions, and I could go into more detail. You just let me know.
No, that's a great mindset. And I'm going to tell you, I can just feel the new agent saying, yeah, right. I mean, I can't do any of that. I am so desperate for this listing. I hate dogs, but I'll let that thing drool all over my brand new suit if it means that they're going to list their house with me. What are you talking about, Johnny, to show up as a leader and
Yeah.
you're going to interview them? Are you kidding me? Talk to the people how it is that you operate from this level of self-confidence. Like, where does it come from and how does one operate with that type of mindset?
Yeah, well, there's the be to have or the have to be, right, Brandon? So, if you want to be that guy, you got to be that guy. You can't like sacrifice there. And if you lose a deal on the way, you'll get 10 more in the future. So there's a little bit of faith aspect. I'm fortunate from an experience standpoint. I sold to orthopedic surgeons and I talked to them about orthopedics, something that they studied for 20 years and I learned on the job, right? So it's the easiest job in the world to put your foot in your mouth. Highly complex, conversations, and you're talking with a true expert. Very easy to mess that up, right? And I sold to Fortune 500 hospitals in their C-suite, right? So they're not super friendly, and those are tense and all that kind of stuff. So I got a little comfortable with discomfort from that. So that kind of probably, that definitely gave me an advantage with walking in there. But if you're going to be that guy, you have to actually be that guy. So that might, for someone listening, that might be affirmations that might just kind of get your energy up before you go in there. But if you're prepared, it shouldn't be a problem. So just be prepared. Do your homework, know your talk tracks, have enough conversations to elevate your skills so that you're prepared and go in there and be an actual driver. And you're going to have to learn by doing it like everything else, but you're going to have to lead the situation and be confident, and people will pick up on that. And the walk away energy, that's the best energy. That's I don't need your business is the best way to get business.
That's exactly right. I hope you guys wrote that down. I hope you're really paying attention. If you haven't noticed, if you are in this conversation with Johnny and I, you can feel his self-worth. His self-worth when he walks in is the mindset of, I don't need anything from you. I'd like to earn your business, but I don't need it. And if we decide that this isn't a good fit, I am fine walking away 100%. What role does your pipeline and your consistent prospecting have to do with you being able to detach from the outcome? In other words, I believe those two are correlated. I believe that the bigger the pipeline, the more consistent an agent is in prospecting, the lower their neediness is at the listing presentation. You agree?
Absolutely. So, I mean, like I mentioned, I got either 15 or 17 listings right now. I mean, it's a lot to manage, and I really don't want ones that are going to be
That's right.
hard. I want layups right now. So, like, I'm even more discerning. I'm like, let's talk about the price again. Like, and I want to like, so I'm like, yeah. Once you have that pipeline, it gives you way more walkway energy because it's the real deal. Like, I'm good now. I've got bandwidth. So. It makes you even more powerful in that situation, knowing that you have the options that you've created yourself. And it doesn't take too long to make that reality for yourself.
Yeah, and I think people misunderstand what it means to detach from the outcome. And what we mean 80% of the time is that detaching from the outcome means that you will go into the listing appointment with this mindset. And the reason why agents don't is they're afraid they're going to lose something. You can't lose something you don't have. And in fact, what you said, Johnny, it's the thing that makes you more desirable in the eyes of the prospect. The fact that you don't need it, the fact that you show up as a leader, the fact that you are interviewing them is the thing that attracts them like a magnet. And on the contrary, agents that are scared to operate that way, I don't want to scare them away. I don't want to come across. Okay, that's the very reason they hire somebody like Johnny versus you. Would you agree with that? Is that what you meant earlier when you said that?
Yeah, it makes you so powerful and it makes you so attractive, but it's sincere too. It's the
That's
real
right.
deal. It's not like a trick, but you got to be that person to have those kind of results as well. Very short anecdote, like the dog example, that's a real example. I mean, it was just a few weeks ago, recent listing, dogs all over me. I wear very nice jackets to my appointments. It's my brand and I prefer to dress professionally. I've been doing it for, 15 years. And their dogs all over me. I say, hey, can we put the dog outside? And they're, oh, sure, no problem. And they had kids out there, and then they were at the door with the dog and say, oh, you know what? Like, there's actually an issue with putting her out there, more or less. Would it be okay if she stayed? And I said, no, I'd really prefer you to put the dog out, please. And, like that could have just like tanked the whole appointment, maybe. But also like that's an incredibly reasonable ask. Like I'm wearing a very nice jacket, your dog's slobbering all over me, and I want to have a professional conversation with you. And I don't want to work with somebody who gets offended by such a reasonable, hospitable ask. So if that doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for me either, and that's okay.
Round of applause. Boundaries equals respect. And that's what realtors suck at. They don't set any boundaries. You can slobber all over me. They would go as far as being allergic to, I don't know, peanuts and have a peanut butter sandwich if it meant that they were going to get a listing. I can't breathe, but I'll put up with anything if it means they don't. That's why, honestly, most realtors, when you interview them, hate their clients because they set no boundaries. They put up with so much crap just to get the commission check. So boundaries equals respect. Boundaries. Yeah, go ahead.
There's a difference between providing amazing service and also just not being a leader. Like you can, right. These things there's consequence, there's downside trade-offs to everything, right? And so that might be the client who has the expectation to be able to get a hold of you at 10 p.m. just the same as they can at 2 p.m. or what. There's trade-offs to all things. And so you have to be, that's not service. I'm very big on providing outstanding, just world-class, life-changing service and with a servant's heart. Like that all really matters to me. And I don't go so far as like, I turn my phone off at 5 because I think that's crap service. But boundaries equals respect, like you mean, like you said.
Yeah, it's great. Okay. What advice or worldviews do you think are shared with new agents that are hurting them more than it is helping them?
Wow. Gosh.
And while you think about that, because I know it's a big question, I'll give you a little more context. The hardest thing for new realtors is all these voices that they're hearing and which ones they are going to subscribe to and which ones they're going to filter out. Yeah. And there are people that give new agents advice with the best intentions. And some of that advice that is what the perception might be that it is helpful at the very same time is hurting them tremendously. I'm just curious, when you walk around and you hear new agents, or maybe it's at your company, maybe it's at other companies, is there advice that you hear on social media that you say, wow, if anyone's listening to that is going to hurt them badly?
Yeah, I think about it. Every meeting I ever go to, I think about it is practically almost everything else that is not highly conversational driven that's going to really drive up their skills and have them face to face or voice to voice with people, preferably people who are qualified in some way, have risen their hand in some way. So this is going to be the social media strategy for a new agent. Like, good luck, man. Again, when's the best time to plant a tree? 30 years ago. That's great. If you want to cap out 3 hours a week or something for building out your social media for long-term planning, that's great. But if you spend a minute over 3 hours doing that and you're a new agent, you're doing your time wrong. So it's all the thing. Open houses. Like I had a guy tell me, you got to put out 30 signs for open houses and, go get balloons. You're going to get more people there. And, just all this kind of stuff. And now if I do an open house, it's with all these things that they're telling me to do, it's going to take all day to do this open house. Now, open houses are great. And so maybe if I want that to be that thing, that's great. But you just have to get down to the 80-20 for the things that you do. Do the important tasks, focus on those, and do fewer things. I guess that's the big one. Just do way less stuff. Yeah, way more of way less.
Yeah, that's great. Way more of way less. I'm going to steal that. And I would imagine that, if I asked you what you would do differently when you walked out of the testing center and you just got your real estate license, knowing what you know now, it would have been some of the same stuff you just said? Or is there one thing that you say, man, knowing what I know now, when I left the testing center, this is exactly what I would do if I was brand new all over again.
Yeah, I would do it almost exactly the same way. For me, the framework is skills and leverage, and you want to amplify both of those as quickly as possible. I have a theory that real estate is one of the only businesses out there that is expected and normalized to start without debt. Every other business, you start a
Hmm.
salon, you need capital, right? If you start a plumbing business, you need a truck and you need tools. Just whether it's capital or labor, most businesses, they operate at a deficit for a pretty long period of time. They have to have employees on their first day of being open. So if you happen to be transitioning from another career and you do have skills, or if you have the plan to develop those skills by making hundreds and hundreds of calls a day and having dozens of conversations, you want to get to leverage as quickly as possible. Those are my two theories. And I hired my first assistant after about 9 months. I probably would have done closer to like five if but sooner than that, I wouldn't have known what to task her towards, right? Because I was still in the learning phase. So it's just volume, do as much as possible, get your skills to where they need to be. And once your skills are there, now you need leverage so that you can spend your time doing the more high value skills that drive business growth.